Okay, so welcome to Practical Problem Solving and Programming. This is lesson 5, where we're going to be looking at the for loops, and we're looking at a little bit more about the count function. So just to start off with, we need to make sure that we have the activities open either in OneNote or in Word. So we're going to consolidate our programming with the for loops, but we're going to use the counter within this lesson. Without further ado, let's have a look at the learning objectives. So the learning objectives is to develop our knowledge of loops, and we're going to create a loop and discover the areas within it, i.e. counting. So we're going to look at the counting function of loops. So the next method, i.e. the counter, which is what we touched on last lesson, is essentially the idea that you have a variable, you have a check, or you have a step where at each stage it goes to the next index. Okay, so the method next is used when a file is used as an iterator, typically in a loop. The next method is called repeatedly, so it'll keep going and it'll repeat until the end of the list. So this method returns the next input line. So the idea is, with an iterator, the idea is that it goes through index by index. Okay, so we're going to have a look at a little program that calculates the mean from a list. Okay, so here I've got an example program, and I've put some hashtags in there just to show you what each line is doing. So here we've got a list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 9. So we've got a list of numbers or integers. We've got the count function. We've got a for next in my numbers. So it's a loop that uses the next function to add to the next value. So the next section, or the next statement, basically says go through my list and add the next element. Okay, so we'll keep adding the next element. So we've got the count equals count plus next. So when you're going through the loop, count, or the loop count variable, will be added to the next number. So whatever the count was, it will be added to the next number, and then it will replace the value in the count. Okay, so that count will keep going up and up in terms of the value. Okay, so we've got 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 9. That's what will happen in the count variable. Okay, so let's have a look at the answer. So the answer will be count divided by my numbers. So the answer variable will be count, which is 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 9, which will give us 24. And the length is a function that adds the elements up. So the 6 elements in total. So what we'll have is 24 divided by 6. So what we're doing here with the length function, we're saying how many different indexes were added together. Okay, so it will be divided by 6, which should give us 4.0. So there we get the mean, which returns as a float. So we can set it up as a float in terms of the answer. So we can set up the answer, but it will automatically do that in terms of how we do it. So what I'll do is I'll show you it working in Python. So we're going to have a look in Python. We're going to have a look at this program and see if we can get it working. Okay, so I've just been writing out the code, so I'm just finishing off writing out the code. So just to reiterate, the answer will be the count divided by the length of your list. So we've got however many indexes you've got in there, i.e. 6. Okay, so I just wanted to clarify that. So here we've got the answer is, and then we'll get it to display the answer, okay, which will be that variable there. So we can get it working. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to press run module, and it should give us 4.0, and it has. It's given us 4.0. So what if we was to change the numbers within that? For example, if we was to give it, just for argument's sake, 9. We give it number 9, then we change that to number 9, which obviously would mean that the numbers will be close to 9, just for the experiment. So let's see what would happen. Yeah, so 7.67, that's right. Yeah, so it's working, and we can test that again to say what would the mean number be if they were all 9. Run module. Yeah, excellent. So it's worked. So the mean number there is 9 if they're all the whole length there is 9. Okay, so that is the for loop using a count function within Python. Okay, so that is within. Okay, so what we're going to look at next is how we can actually display the for next quotation marks. You can't see me, so put my fingers up. Is how we can display it within pseudocode. Obviously, pseudocode is something that we are going to be answering our tasks in, so we'll have a look at that now. So we'll skip that one. Okay, so in the textbook, and the textbook is quite good for this, page 138, just at the top. So we've got the for, to, and the next loop. So the where a variable is set up, okay, so you have a start value, and the variable being the counter, and then what you would do, you increment each of those steps until the end of the value is reached and the iteration has finished. Okay, so you finish searching through the array. So the variable can be used within the loop so long as its value is not changed. This type of loop is very useful for reading values in its list. So that's what we're looking at. So here we have the next count, or the next statement, which is what we were looking at in Python. But we've got a for counter between the ranges of 1 to 10. So we're entering the name of the student. We say print input student name, and then we've got the counter. Okay, so every time, so this program, what it does is it allows you to enter a student's name, and allows you to enter a student's name again up to 10 students. Okay, so once it reaches 10 and once that condition is met, it goes to the next set of code. Okay, so it will keep counting and it will say next counter and the next counter until it reaches 10, and then it will exit the loop because you'll be reaching that range. Okay, so once you got to that range, it will come out of the loop. In the lesson, we've got a little plenary here, which you can, which obviously we'll go through within the lesson, and then at the end we've got the answers for 14.2.1, 14.2.2, and 14.2.3. So the answers are there. So you can either pause the video and have a look at the answers there, or you can just download the PowerPoint, or you can have a look at the solutions, which I'll attach to either OneNote or Edmodo, so you've got loads of avenues to get a hold of the solutions. Okay, thank you for listening to, I think this was lesson 5.